Living in modernized society, we generate a lot of garbage by the amount of products that we use. We also live in a time where the condition of our planet is so unhealthy and polluted by various forms of waste products that we need to worry about if there is going to be enough of it left for us to use and for us to survive. It is time for us to ask ourselves where all this pollution comes from and how we, the generators, can decrease the amount we generate. Over the last 30 years, the EPA has collected data tallying the amount of municipal solid waste that is produced. We currently are at an all-time high with 250 million tons of solid waste produced annually. That breaks down to 4.4 pounds per person per day in the US, with only 1.5 of that being recycled. The EPA even breaks down that amount of waste generated into different categories based on material and the type of product. These include organic waste, textiles, durable goods, and the numbers are varying, but there are some that really stick out to me. 28% of our garbage is from paper and cardboard products, 14% is food waste, and 30% is from containers and product packaging. So that is not even the things that we use. That is just what they are wrapped in. Yes, a third of our waste is generated simply by overwrapping products before consumption. The Minnesota Pollution Control Agency does a really great job with their eco experience at the Minnesota State Fair to help us visualize this waste stream. They highlight just one aspect of consumer waste each year. Last year's exhibit focused on the plastic bottle buying habits of Minnesotans. Like, did you know that every 5 minutes about 14,000 bottles are purchased in just our state of Minnesota alone? That's enough bottles to build a wall that is 15 feet high and 70 feet long. That is a lot of plastic bottles, and with an average recycling rate of 25%, that means very few of those bottles get recycled. That's 3,500 bottles, to be a little more exact. But why should we care about this? Waste reduction is relevant to many things because one large factor in the increase of pollution in the environment and climate change agents can actually just be traced back to the sheer amount of products that we use and discard. Many of the items people use have an impact on the natural resources and integrity of the planet because of the materials they are made out of, from the mining and manufacturing to the transportation of them to how they are used and disposed. Once they are disposed of, it's just taken care of by the city's waste management system, right? But in reality, it's not that easy. Things do not just go away. The sad truth of it is that many of these items we use, they're just used and then tossed into the garbage. The garbage is usually sent to sit in a landfill where it just fills up space and builds up toxic waste, or it's incinerated. But a lot of it ends up in our waterways and littering the countryside, and even piles up in garbage in other people's countries. Many of the items we throw away can have a toxic effect on our environment and the wildlife that that that's around. Trash that does not make it into the recycling or landfill can build up and degrade the natural habitat, making it unsuitable for living. These products can leach toxic chemicals and hormone disruptors as well. A lot of the waste that ends up in those waterways just gets washed to sea. This has caused a phenomenon called the Pacific Garbage Patch. Actually, there's more than just the Pacific Garbage Patch. These patches are turning up all over the world in areas where the ocean forms gyres that basically trap all the garbage in these areas of the sea, and they then break down, and these little bits and pieces of trash that are mostly plastics are just suspended in the water where it can continue to release byproducts and can be ingested by the marine life. And many of these animals are not able to digest those synthetic products. There are many instances of marine life washing up dead on beaches. Once autopsies are conducted, they find tiny pellets of plastic and different materials filling their stomach and intestines. We also cannot neglect the impact of making the products. It is not just using and disposing, but making that can be harmful. A lot of these products come with a cost both monetarily and to the integrity of the environment. There's the cost from the mining and the manufacturing to the pollution and waste products from those processes, to the shipment to the store where it's sold to you, where you then choose what you do with it. For what you choose to do with it, you can make the choice to use it and what happens after. There are many things that one can do to reduce their impact of the environment by garbage. And you can even reduce the waste stream. There are, of course, the simple solutions of just not being a litter bug and making sure it gets into the right bin, whether that's the trash or the compost or recycling. Composting is actually a really great thing to do with food and organic waste products because the natural processes of compost will turn your garbage into a nutrient-rich fertilizer or a biopesticide, and that takes so much of this reusable organic material that would normally be taken out of the system and put into a landfill. It is estimated by using an organic compost system, you can reduce household waste by 25%. One can easily have a small system in their home or their apartment. There are many community programs as well, and their availability is growing. There is even organic composting on the U of M campuses and popping up in neighborhoods in the Twin Cities. Recycling and upcycling are also good choices. Before you throw something out, ask yourself if it can be reused. Many things we get rid of just because we do not want them anymore or it's out of style. There are websites like Pinterest and Craftstar that have many great ideas on how to make it into something new. There are also ways to upcycle your trash. Companies like TerraCycle collect donations of different products and make it into something new. Some things that you might have seen around are these tote bags. They're really cool, made out of like Frito-Lay chip bags or Capri Sun pouches. They even make household products, vermicompost fertilizers, and toys. TerraCycle actually takes so much more waste out of the cycle than it creates that it has a negative carbon footprint. The most effective solution is both the easiest and the hardest. It simply is just do not use it. By making smart purchasing choices and daily living habits, we can change and reduce the need to even throw things away. There are simple things one can do, such as using a reusable water bottle, a coffee mug, or the ever popular mason jar. It is surprising how much a difference that this habit can make. As I had mentioned before, 30% of our solid waste comes from packaging and containers. This is where your purchasing decisions come in. You can choose to buy a lesser packaged product or shop in the bulk section. Instead of eating takeout where meals are packaged in clamshells and have individually wrapped silverware, you can eat in. Just be aware of the amount that you use and discard. Do not use more than you will need. When shopping, use reusable tote bags and reduce the amount of plastic bags that just build up in your pantry. The list goes on and on and on. There are many fun and creative ways to reduce usage habits. Unfortunately, these habits are the hardest to change. I challenge you to see where you fit into the waste stream. How much waste do you think that you create? If you gathered it all up for a week and piled the bags up in a corner, do you think it will be big or will it be little? Will it pile up neatly in a small pile or overflow into the walkway? Now picture this over a week for yourself and your family. That pile grows sizably. What about over the next month or the year? So where does it all come from? Sort your waste into separate bags so you can see your sources. So you'll have your recyclables, the organic compostable waste, the packaging from food products, and everything else that is considered garbage. Are there any patterns that you notice? Are there a lot of any one item? Are these items a necessity? Do you really need them, or can you omit them from the waste stream? See if you can take that next step. While these are small things that they really do add up and make a difference in the overall picture and the health of our communities.